All right, so now we're going to talk about an overview of e-commerce. Essentially, e-commerce is made up of four models. You have the business to business, business to consumer, consumer to business, and consumer to consumer. And you can look at these in more depth on the Big Commerce website where I reference these. The first one, the business to business, this is not necessarily a very new area, but it's really coming on strong. This is businesses working with other businesses. And a really good example in our area is like Robert Kaufman Fabrics and Riley Blake Designs. What we used to have to do is go to what we call Quilt Market, and that would be like out in Houston or Pittsburgh. And you'd fly there and you go to this giant convention center and you'd go meet with all these suppliers and you would basically place your orders with them at these suppliers. Well, it costs money to go there. It costs money for them to go there. They all compete with each other on who can have the biggest and broadest displays and show everybody. And then you can meet the designers. And there's something there about being there and touching the fabrics and meeting with the people. But at some point, the cost is so high of going there that they were just trying to entice people. They would give you free shipping on things like that for just going there and doing all that, right? Well, lately, every single one of our suppliers, we've been able just to go online, especially now during the COVID problem. You just go online, you just do your purchases right online. Most times you can contact your rep and then they just make the purchases right online. So right business to business, getting all your stuff wholesale. Now, business to consumer is a little bit different. This is, think Walmart, Amazon, Southern Fabric. This is where the business sells directly to the consumer, okay? Household supplies, entertainment, all that is just business to consumer transactions. Pretty much anything you buy textbooks online, all that is just business to consumer. The next is consumer to business. A little bit different model, but this is where the consumer is requesting a quote from a business and then giving the businesses an opportunity to bid. So think like Fiverr or Task Army, pretty much anything outsourced. So I know like here where I live, we're looking at different landscape companies to come in and do the landscaping for our homeowner association. Well, that is very similar to that, consumer to business, where we are looking for multiple businesses to come in, compete with each other to win the bid. Okay. And then lastly, consumer to consumer. Now, this is an interesting one because really once you set the engine up, the engine doesn't have a whole lot to do with things, right? So Craigslist, eBay, kind of maybe even the Walmart model where small companies, and Amazon model where small companies, I guess they're still companies, but I think Craigslist and eBay are probably the two biggest ones. There's some of these new Facebook apps that are letting you sell your stuff on there. Like Neighborly, stuff like that. But once you set up that framework, once the company sets up the framework, the consumer to consumer, all the logistics is all handled within the consumers themselves. So a consumer will go onto eBay, purchase from another consumer. Same thing with Craigslist. They aren't actual companies. So that's that model. One thing that we also need to talk about when it's in e-commerce is this thing called dropshipping. According to Shopify, this is the model where, the customer will place the order from your store. The store sends that order automatically via electronic data interchange, EDI, to another supplier. That supplier will fulfill that order, and it essentially will be drop shipped right to that person. This is not to be confused with Amazon Prime, Amazon Shipping, Amazon Warehousing. We'll talk about that in a bit, but this is one company, like let's just pretend Southern Fabric. This is Southern Fabric. We don't have any inventory and we don't purchase any inventory. And when we sell something, we just have the company ship it and then they'll invoice us for that item. Okay. So that's called drop shipping. So there are some advantages and disadvantages to that. First, the advantages. I don't have to have any capital, very little capital to start up. It's pretty easy to start, no overhead. I can work from anywhere. I don't have to worry about where my inventory is. There's a wide selection of products. I can test out the products. I can move to different products, okay? Some disadvantages. Everybody's doing it, which means it's the race to the bottom, low margins. Lots of inventory issues. I don't actually have it in stock. I'm hoping that my supplier does. If I sell it and they're out of stock, how long is that wait going to be? Okay. Shipping complexities. I sell the product. Do I collect the shipping? How do I know if I'm going to ship a product that's too big and it's got to go from the warehouse in St. Louis out to Washington State, and it's going to go FedEx, UPS? What is that charge going to be? How do I even know what to charge for that? So it gets really complex with the shipping. Okay. Supplier errors. They ship the wrong thing. They ship something that's broken. Who is supposed to deal with that? Right? And then limited customization. Like, they're not going to put my logo on the product being shipped out. So I can't do branding. I can't do marketing. I can't put coupons inside the packaging to go out. So lots of issues with drop shipping. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about was subscriptions and monthly boxes. This is big. We did this for a while. We had what we called clubs, and people would sign up for the club, and every month we would send them a new fabric bundle, a different color, or a different Christmas bundle, or by a specific designer, and it worked. And it was a lot of money coming in at one time. But the problem is setting up the clubs and having enough inventory to cover your club subscriptions was a logistic nightmare. So eventually we did away with the subscriptions and the monthly boxes, and trying to charge everybody's credit cards, and who wanted to cancel, who didn't want to cancel, who was supposed to be charged, just seemed like, just logistically. Now they do have some software that has been built and come along since then that makes it easier, that the recurring charges and the PayPal charges and all that stuff will recur easier. But what if someone uses one of those privacy credit cards that are just temporary and they don't want to be charged again, or it's a stolen credit card, just huge problems with subscriptions and monthly boxes for us. It might be a good model, and it might be a good way to get customers fast. But I know that this is getting more and more popular. People are signing up for subscriptions, and you get discounts. And just the other day, Amazon has that subscription where you're at your laundry machine and you buy essentially a button, and that button for Tide, and there's a button, right? It's just a little button that sits right on the washing machine, and you just push the button, and your Tide is automatically ordered and shipped to your house. And it's just set up with Wi-Fi at your house. That is absolutely too cool. Okay. So anyway, that's just kind of an overview of e-commerce. We covered a couple things. We covered the 4 different business models. We covered drop shipping. We covered subscriptions and monthly boxes. So just kind of go through the content that's on the site, and let me know if you have any questions.